And now coming at you live from Southwest Guildford High School, the East Timor Genocide. East Timor is a small island off the coast of Australia known for its resources of coffee and sandalwood. The Portuguese took control of East Timor in the 1600s because of their vast resources of coffee and sandalwood, a wood that retains its scent for many years. They controlled it politically and economically until 1942. During World War II, Japan gained control from 1942 to 1945 after defeating a small Allied force comprised of Australians who had occupied the island to use it as a buffer zone for the war. After World War II, Portuguese regained control of the region and ruled for the next 30 years. Dictator Marcelo Caetano of Portugal was overthrown in 1975 as a result of the Carnation Revolution. Self-determination was granted to the Portuguese colonies as part of the decolonization effort of the new leadership. Withdrawal of the Portugal led to civil war in August of 1975 between those who wanted independence, the Fretilin, and those who wanted integration with the Indonesians. On November 28th of 1975, the Fretilin proclaimed independence as the Democratic Republic of East Timor. Similarly, on November 30th of 1975, the pro-Indonesian party also proclaimed independence, announcing their intentions to integrate and collaborate with the Indonesians. On December 7th of 1975, Indonesia invaded and commenced the genocide of East Timor under the dictator Suharto. 33 to 50% of their population of 600,000 was killed. This military action was approved by U.S. President Ford. Indonesia implemented their genocide through many methods, one of which was internment camps. There were 15 internment camps located on the outskirts of East Timor with the purpose to isolate the Fretilin on the inside. People were starved and lived in very poor conditions. If they tried to leave the camp, they were killed instantly. Similarly, the Indonesians moved other East Timor citizens to resettlement villages where they faced the same fate. When moving the Timorese to these villages, they were separated from people who spoke their language so the Indonesians could avoid peasant revolt. Indonesia controlled East Timor economically through monopolies of sandalwood and coffee, PT Dinok and PT Skin. These monopolies were created by General Benny Merdani. The monopolies kicked East Timor farmers off their land. This, along with relocation, scorched earth policies, led to starvation. Another method was Indonesiization, where they forced Indonesian culture on the people of East Timor, specifically their youth. The Indonesians controlled the birth rates of East Timor citizens by giving East Timor women treatments to make them infertile. Some of these were without the consent of these women. They also limited the amount of children each family could have to 3. Indonesia forced young Timorese men into their military, forcing them to kill family and friends to prove their loyalty. The last method used was military brutality. The Indonesian military would not hesitate to kill mass numbers of Timor people, and often did so through shootings, rape, torture, and massacre. I turn it over to my co-host, Haley Camille, to discuss the Santa Cruz Massacre.
Thanks, Maria. Yes, in 1991, Santa Cruz Massacre occurred in the East Timor's capital of Dili at a cemetery where British reporter and journalist Max Stahl brought the severity of the genocide to the public's attention with a video of the massacre. 250 unarmed Timorese were killed while mourning the death of a fallen revolutionary. After the massacre, the remaining were systematically killed in hospitals and in the street. Indonesia's justification for their genocide in East Timor was to prevent the spread of communism to East Timor that had been plaguing Southeast Asia. This was approved by the U.S.'s Reagan administration, who supplied arms to Indonesia, indicating that the U.S. had a form of responsibility for the deaths in East Timor. Another reason for the justification was to prevent the spread of secessionist ideology to other Indonesian provinces. Furthermore, they had freedom of violence due to public's lack of knowledge about the genocide. In 1999, new Indonesian President B.J. Habibie allowed the people of East Timor to vote for their independence in a UN-sponsored referendum. After East Timor received their independence, Indonesia decided that if they could not control East Timor, then they would bring East Timor back to year zero through increased violence and destroying their infrastructure. An established government in East Timor and implemented troops from Australia and New Zealand to control violence between East Timor and Indonesia. In 2002, East Timor received official independence and appointed Gusmão as president. He was the former leader of the Fretilin, which was the armed branch of Fretilin, the pro-independence party. Trials were conducted in both Indonesia and East Timor. Out of 18 people, only 2 people were convicted, and both were ethnic Timorese, which shows that justice has still not been served. In 2010, New Zealand and Australian troops were pulled out of East Timor. PT Dinok, the monopoly created in East Timor, now controls their only movie theater, luxury hotel, marble production, and imports consumer products. This allows Indonesia to continue to influence East Timor through their economy. Violence still continues to this day.